So one of my biggest goals that's probably going to take me a few years to accomplish is to throw a charcuterie party where I've made everything. I'm talking cured meats, cheeses, condiments, maybe some kind of boozy beverage like wine, cider, or beer, maybe distilling. I don't know. By the way, cheers. But I need to learn a whole bunch of different disciplines. So this is a goal that is years in the making. So one of the first things I wanted to learn was sausage making. I actually made my first ever stuffed case sausage. I made bratwurst and it turned out amazing. Like total beginner's luck. It turned out so good. The texture was just right. They cooked up really nice. I did every little part right somehow. I have no idea how it all came together. I even had my 4-year-old help me stuff the sausages, which apparently stuffing is really tricky. It went perfect for me that first time. It was so good. So of course, I got really cocky. So I decided to up the ante the second time and to go for a much more interesting sausage. So I saw this guy online, the Scott Ree Project. He made apple and apple cider sausages, and those look great, and it's autumn right now. I thought those would be perfect for right now. So I got to whipping up a batch of that. Did a few things wrong though. So in Scott's recipe, he calls for an ingredient called rusk. It's an old English butcher binder filler, and I didn't have that. And also my wife eats gluten-free, so I really wanted to make sure that whatever I did was going to be a gluten-free binder filler. So instead of using rusk, I used the cornflake breadcrumbs because they're gluten-free, and I did the same exact proportion, a half pound of the cornflake breadcrumbs to a pound of apple cider, and I mix it together. And then when I put it all together and I started mixing it up, I could tell that the color of the sausage was so different than the first time I had made it. It was so different. And I think that the rusk was like, there was way too much of it. Like I couldn't even see the red of the meat anymore. So I could tell something wasn't right with the sausage when I got into the pan. And when you're making sausage, you take a little bit of your sausage and you put it into a patty and you place it in the pan, and you make sure that the seasonings taste good. And this is where you can also tell as to whether or not you bound it well, if the ingredient's fully emulsified. So as I started cooking the first one, it like crumbled and separated. It was kind of like soupy and goopy, and like the outside burned and the inside didn't cook, and it just fell apart. It was disgusting. So I was like, oh no, I know this isn't right, because it was not like the first time. Then I decided, you know what? Maybe it was just too much of the cornflakes, because like maybe half a pound of cornflake is like quadruple the amount of rusk or something. I don't know. I need to look into this. So I decided I'm going to add more meat. So I get some more pork meat, and I add like double the amount of meat back in. And so tonight I did that. I got all that meat back in there, and I spent all that time like mixing it and kneading it, and I go to make up the patty. And sure enough, it still, right around the edges, started having that foaming bubble that showed that all my fat was rendering out immediately. And I had just that crumbly ground texture. I go and I look at my sausage making book, and he says in this book, like, there's no cure for a ruined batch. I was so bummed because I had high hopes for these sausages, and I felt so confident after the first week, and then sure enough, failed the second time. I don't think I'm ready to really start experimenting with mixing ingredients. So next sausage, I'm going to be very by the book. No mixing and matching, nothing like that. I'm excited for the next batch, but it'll probably be a little while because I'm still very bummed that this batch did not turn out. I mean, it just happened, so I need to give it a minute to set in. But yeah, that's what makes this goal kind of exciting to me. Is it's not going to be easy. I have a lot to learn, and I'm very excited about how to move forward. So if you know anything about making sausage and how to fix when your farce is not working, let me know. Because right now I'm just under the impression that if it's overmixed or got too hot while you're mixing, or the ingredient ratios are off, you're done. Anyways, there's a lot of ins and outs to sausage making, and I'm excited to learn more. Have a good evening.